Hey, how are you paying off your private lenders? Do you plan on paying 10% forever, or do you need a deal to cash flow well enough for you to do that, or are you waiting to refinance? Because I know
Oh,
I know some private lenders want 6 months. Does that mean you're trading them out every 6 months until when? That's my problem.
this is a whole conversation.
Oh,
And
it's not a quick question.
it's not a quick question.
Dang
It's a
it.
great conversation, and it's all of the above. Okay. So
Okay.
when you're first starting out, a lot of everything in real estate has something to do with where you're currently at, what resources you have access to. Um, and resources would be what type of lenders, right? So I'll get lenders that will come in. I have a lender right now. I paid him off 9 grand today. Okay. Because he wanted 9 grand. Typically it's like the lenders that are $25,000 and under are like, I need my money back in 6 months or less. Right. So then when you start running into other lenders that have 100 grand, 200 grand, $300,000, very rarely do they want their money back within a year, because that's a larger chunk of money. That usually means they have a larger chunk of money over here. So when you're brand new and your resources are limited, and it's like your uncle or your cousin who has $15,000 to get your first sub 2 deal done, well, then typically you're going to go, I have 6 months to continually build credibility, find other private lenders, and essentially replace my uncle or my cousin or whoever it is that loaned that money to me with another lender. And I did that for my first probably 30 or 40 subject to deals. Is I was like, I just need money for 6 months. I even had a lender last year. I needed a lender that I'd used in the past. It was like 2 days before Christmas, and most of my other lenders were out of town. And I go, hey, I need money like now of like $160,000. They funded a deal for me, and I knew I had to refinance them out in less than 3 months. I refinanced them out literally like January 10th. Why did I do that? Is because that's when my other lenders basically came back from their vacation. So it depends on the resources you have and who you're going to end up using. I will, depending on the deal that I'm doing, let's say I have a deal that doesn't need to fund for 40 days. I'm not really going to stress out about using a lender that wants money back tomorrow, right? So let's say I use a lender that wants their money back in a year, right? Typically what I'm going to do, and this is why I like fixing and flipping, this is why I like wholesaling, is because if I need to, I can fund them out with my own cash, right? So I have such a surplus in my wholesale and my fix and flip business that I never really worry about paying off my private lenders with my own capital if I need to, right? So like this month, I think I'm paying off 90 grand or so of like other lenders that were like, hey, I just like to be paid off by sometime middle of like 2022. And I'm like, you know what? I already know they want to be paid off next year. I've got the excess capital. And the way I'm structuring is kind of a weird thing. I'm actually bring the money in. I donate that money to my charity. My charity then pays off those lenders. And now my charity has the note against that property. Okay.
Yeah.
So I get a tax deduction for that donation. Then my charity, it's a little bit complicated. I know you understand it, but some people might go over their head. So what we do now is typically we tell our lenders, long-term lenders, I put lenders into 3 buckets. Okay. And when I talk to my lenders, I tell them this. I go, look, you're either category A, category B, or category C. Category A is you and I are probably going to speak once every couple of years, and you're just going to put your money in there. You're going to get a check for the next 5 years. You don't really care. You're good at 8 to 10%. You just want safe money with a safe return. So I get $100,000 from that lender, and I tell them every time, I go, you're probably not category A. I would imagine you're category B or C, and you let me know which one you are. B is like, I'm good. They're good with a year, maybe upwards of 2 years. They're working professionals. They have $50 to maybe $250,000 that they could put into something. They're not happy with what they're getting in their stock portfolio or whatever. Category C is actually who I run into the most. And the reason I run into that category the most is because category C is other real estate investors. People that are not finding as many deals as they wanted to. People that are like, I want to be attached to an active company. I want to see the transactions. I want to see the paperwork. I want to feel like I'm part of the process, and I want to get a safe return in the process. So those people, doesn't really matter what the number is, but here's what happens typically with those people. Those lenders will lend with me for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, whatever. And based on their learning curve and what they see inside of my Slack channels and speaking to my title company, my transaction coordinator, and Cody Barton and Anna Martinez, my project manager, and Tony Counts, my bookkeeper, they'll get educated enough that sometimes 3 months later, they go, I'm out of here. Give me my money back. I'm going to go deploy it back into my own deals. Now you've essentially connected all the missing pieces in my mind.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's a year, sometimes it's 2 years, but that's the primary person that I find is like 80% of my lenders are in category C. They're other real estate investors that are not doing as well as I am, but
Right.
they have capital to deploy, and they know that the only way to actively or actually learn real estate is to be in an active deal. That's the only way to learn. Like Caleb, you know that. You learn all your stuff by going through it. You learn all your stuff by making mistakes. You learn all your stuff by being involved in a deal where you have, it's not interesting anymore. It's important, right? So I literally, everything I just told you, I tell my lenders when I talk to them, hey, I have category A, B, and C. At the end of this, you tell me what category you are. And if you're interested, tell me what you want. If you're category C, I'll put you in any variety of deals. Sometimes I'll put you in a subject to deal that I will never let go of. I'll keep it for forever. And sometimes I'll put you in a fix and flip. Do you really care what kind of transaction you're in? And the lender goes, sometimes I have lenders that, and some of them are I have a lot of students, and I don't know if my student or my lender Yara is in here, but Yara is one of my lenders. She was a lender before she became a student. And then she was like, oh my gosh, I see all this stuff you're doing. And she became a student after she was my lender. Okay.
Oh, she and I talked a lot.
Yeah. She's a sweetheart, right?
Yep.
So Yara loaned me money. And I told her, look, my goal is to teach you how this all works behind the scenes. You can talk to Cody. You can stop by my office. You can communicate with Anna. You can call Tony, my bookkeeper. You can learn the whole back end of the system and talk to my title company 100 times. Right? Call them, because they're going to treat you like gold because you're a lender, not like a regular human being bothering them. Right? So you tell me where you want to be. And Yara comes in and goes, I'm category C. I definitely want to invest in my own stuff at some point, but I don't feel like I have enough experience to get there yet. And I go, great. You give me, here's what I want from you. Here's my agreement with you is if you give me 90 days heads up, whenever you want your money back, I'll go find another lender or I'll refinance you out.